Hello everyone. Today we are going to build tic-tac-toe game using Python. So as you have all played this game in your childhood, this game is really going very interesting and it will be full of fun when we will be building with Python. So we will discuss first the basic idea of the game. Then we will discuss the resources used, the concept. It will include the final lines of codes which we'll be writing with the Python. We will also discuss some amount of AI because this is going to be common used in the game. And then we will discuss about the final game. So tic-tac-toe game, which is also known as noughts and crossers in different language, and in India it is popularly known as 0x. So it is a 3 by 3 grid game. We have to mark 3 consecutive grids diagonally, horizontally, or vertically. And if we are able to mark the game or mark our the 0 or x, we will be declared as winner. So this is a algorithm games where we have to take care about how to build the 0x game because every time our opposition player is also trying to mark the 3 consecutive marks. But there will be a variation when we will be building it because here we need to play with the computer and it will be a single player game. Again, coming to the requirement of AI, because it is a single player game, that's why we are using AI here. That means that there will be only a one player and it will play with the computer. Here computer will itself think it's as a player and play with us and try hard to defeat us. So this game will not going to easy to win because computer is here and it will not have errors. So it will be difficult to defeat computer. Now let's discuss what is AI. AI also known as artificial intelligence. For example, when we think about different areas and then we decide that what to do or what not to do under different circumstances, like choosing different routes to reach our destination, getting an idea of the weather by looking at it, or different things, it is known as intelligence. But when computer also starts thinking about the same thing, like choosing a path from which route is faster and which route is slower, weather conditions, what people are thinking by tracking their activities, tracking their locations. So this is artificial intelligence, means machines are having intelligence like humans. Actually they don't have, they pretend that they have because we have designed them in such a way that they can take their decisions by giving them some input. So this is artificial intelligence. AI is also the future of the computer because every computer is getting itself updated with the artificial intelligence, be it weather reporting machines, be it search engines, or be it cars, be it houses, everything is getting an inbuilt AI features with them. Now let's see where artificial intelligence is used. For example, when we talk with a chatbot like enter OTPs or different kinds of things, or entering queries, responding to queries to the users, so that is also a type of AI implemented through machine learning. It is also in robotics, like it can be a camera, it can be a working robot, or working hands, which is used in industrializations, or tracking the sensors, or tracking the temperatures, tracking the climate. This is all the work of the AI. Second, autonomous vehicles. This is very popular because this is the new generation of the artificial cars where they can drive or you can say a driverless car which can move on its own. Even within like Google search engines, they are also a type of artificial intelligence which comes under machine learning. And whenever you write something in Google and then it starts showing you same variety of feeds in your Google news feeds. So the reason behind that, it uses artificial intelligence and track your history and then give you a similar result to it. Now why we are using AI in the project? The first of thing that when we are building with computer, so we should also play with computer. So our the need of the second player ends here. Also we will learn about AI and ML. We will basically learn about AI, that how does the algorithm works for the AI. And as I have said you earlier, AI is the future of the computer. So here you will get some basic idea about how the AI works. So it will be beneficial for your career also and for your learning purpose also, because at a much faster rate, if you learn AI, you will get the growth from that faster rate. Now here is the final code. Let's have a look at the code, that how we are going to build, how it will look when we will be playing with the computer. So you can see here I am already running the file in my desktop, and here I press the yes because I wanted to play again with the computer, and the computer responses me with the welcome gesture by typing it. And here are the different areas which we need to mark, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 9. And we need to just place the position because automatically they have assigned us our mark as X, and computer will play with us as a mark with the 0. So let's have a random move. I place my mark on 6. So here you have seen that computer has responded. When I have marked on the 6, I got a X marks here, and then computer placed automatically its marks on 7, that is 0. So here comes the 0. Now again take a random move, and we will place it on 3. So as we were going to place it on 3, it has stopped us from building because it has placed it on 0, so that we cannot have 3 consecutive marks, otherwise we will win. So let's have a mark on 5. And computer has already finished its task, and we lose here because they have marked all the 3. So in this manner our game works. We just make a mark and the computer again make its own mark and respond us back for the new mark which we have to make. If it has made, or if we have made the mark, they just respond us that we are winning or we are losing. So let's play again so that we may identify how does it is working. For example, we mark here at 9, and computer marked here at 3, as you can see. Now we will mark at 5, and the computer marked at 2. Before completing, we will mark at 2. So otherwise computer will complete, and computer has also stopped us from completing the game because it has marked on 8. So we will mark somewhere on 6, and then it is winning here, so we will mark at its 7 position so that computer may not win, and it has stopped. Let's start building the game, that how it will work and how the process will take place. So welcome back again, guys. We were discussing about the final code, that how we it will look like. Now we will write an algorithm for the programming. The first objective should be to write an algorithm, because writing an algorithm works well when you are developing a program. Algorithm is the best thing that you should write because it keeps you focus on that what is going behind. Now first, before writing the algorithm, let's start that how was the code, means what has happened and what was our attention or focus should be on. So the first thing that was there, input from the user, that whether they want to play or not. So here we can write that first we have asked for an input, we were given an input, and then it just started a welcome screen to us, means our response that the game has begun and now we can play the game. So second thing that we saw was the welcome screen, or you can say the starting point of the game. Third thing, you can see that there are various spaces here. These spaces are for the variables, they are not just a vacant spaces. So we should have the variables for the input, because whenever user press any key, there should be a storage that it will be stored like. Now the third thing that you see is a screen which is coming here, this dash dash dash. This is not a very big issue, we can build it easily, but this is also matters because there should be a playing board on which we will play. So the fourth thing should be a board. We have seen a board in which we were playing. Now coming to the fifth thing that was there, was after every click there was another click, or you can say another response from the computer that it is making its move. For example, we have taken a response from the user that we have to mark the second space, that is this one. Then computer has displayed us marking the second space, and also computer has given a response on marking on its own position. So here is a response from the computer which is marked his first position and also showing our current position. So it is showing that the game is going on. So we want a computer response because actually we are having a computer game, so computer response is also needed. The third thing is, you can see that computer is going on playing. For example, it is taking the input from the user and placing its own input there. So there is some codes which are running there, which are giving that what we need to do. So there is a computer code that is always needed, as you all know. They are the mechanism that how computer will play. You can make it difficult, you can make it play easily, it may lose easily, it may even get stress also, so we need to take care of that. Now the other thing that you see here is that computer is not ending the game, means outcome is not there because it is keep going playing. So until these spaces are not filled, the computer will not give us the response of the ending the game. It is it is taking the input from the user, it is filling the space, marking the space, and now it is not giving the outcome. And it can give outcome if we get a lose or win, so or even a tie. So computer is knowing that if they need to take the outcome, when they need to give the outcome, when there are spaces left, and when they need to take the outcome when the game is not finished or when there is a spaces left. So our computer should know that when does the code end, when to end the game, because that also matters, that when the game is getting ended means spaces are left but still the game ended because computer has made a three consecutive marks. So here it is, when does the game ends. And so these are the various things that we saw that is happening on the screen. Now for these all things we will write a algorithm, or before our algorithm you can say that these are the tasks that we need to complete. So our first task would be to give a welcome screen or display the board to the user. So the first task is to display the board. Then the second task for us is that it is showing to take the input from the user, means it is asking to mark the position. It has shown the board, it has shown the welcome screen, and now it is asking to mark the position, to select the position from 1 to 9. So we need to make variables and also mark the position according to the user's input. So here is our second task, to take variables and mark user input, because from there the game begins. The third thing is it is showing the status of the game. The game has not ended and it is marking its own chances. So here our third and fourth task come, that computer will make move. Computer will make its move and it will not end the game, or it will keep the game playing, because it is showing us the screen that where the game is. Here you can say that see that the game is still running behind on the screen, and computer is again and again showing us the input which is marked by the computer. And now the fifth thing come, that when does the games end, because computer should also know that game should have an end when there is a three consecutive mark or there is no variables left to play. So here is that computer should know when it gets tie. Computer should know when games end. So here you can see that computer is knowing where games ends. So these are the 5 tasks that we need to complete. Okay, the one thing more comes here, that the steps are keep going. For example, these 4 steps are repeating themselves. So there is a repeat after 4th step. If the game has not ended, means the computer, there is a still variables to left, and no 3 consecutive marks can be marked by either by the computer or by the user. So this is for now, and we will be writing code for these all, that how our computer will works. So it is really interesting. I hope you would like it. So hello everyone. In the last lecture we were discussing about the writing the algorithms, and we have made the algorithms or the task that we need to complete in making the tic-tac-toe game. So let's start building our first phase, and that will be the board designing. So with the board designing we have also to discuss that how will user give the input, because our board spaces will not only be a design, it will be a available space for the input. So we are concerned with 2 things. The first thing is design the board, and the second thing on the basis of input. So first let give a function, or give a function name, and that will be to the user will, how user will insert the mark, or how user will mark the board. So here, while inserting or marking the board, we will be needed 2 parameters. Our first parameter will be a mark that user will take to discuss with it. And the second thing that we will be using will be a position. So the user is only concerned about the position, but we also need to update the board with the mark also on which the user is pointing to mark. So here is our function name, and the second thing that will become that we have a board, and here is the position, and we need to insert here. So now you can see two things that we have come up to. The first thing is there is a function that is insert mark. It has two parameters, one will be the mark and second will be the position, and user will give only the position. And here the board is a list which is also our designing of the board, and this list will have position as a key to insert what we are going to insert or to mark what we are going to mark. Now coming to the thing that this function does not return anything. It is only to update each and every time the user will enter anything on the board. So every time the user make an input of a position, we will take the input and we will mark on the board. Now coming to the second thing, that before designing the board, we also need a board. What will be our board? It should a variable which will be a type of list, because lists are easily accessible, and these lists will have a 9 spaces for them. So currently I am not marking these spaces. These will be vacant spaces at the starting, and let's build this list for the variable board. So we are building the board, and we want 9 spaces for our board, so we will give a range 10. So I think you understand what I have written here. This is a single line of code, and here spaces are what we want to update in our list, and this loop will run 9 times. Since range is a function which does not take its last value, so it will run from 0 to 9, and it will update the list. So this list will be our board which we will be building for our game. Now the third thing which comes is what our design will look like. So let's design our board. So we are going to designing the board, or in clear words we can say that we are going to print our board here, and our parameter will be the board list which we have made earlier, because this is what we wanted to design the board, and this list will be the parameter for printing the board. Now how your design will look like? Say you can take any type of design which you wanted for your board game, but I have already designed my game, so my design will look like this. Here is the starting gesture, but this will not be our board. Our board will be from here to here. It means there are 9 spaces, 1 2 3 to 9, 4 5 6 7 8 9, and each spaces will have some space, and here will our parameter will come where we want to mark the board. Like I wanted to mark here, so it does not come here just adjacent to the line, but it come in the middle. It came in the middle where we want to mark our board. So our first line is vacant, our second line is vacant, our 2 spaces are vacant, and we are marking here. Here is our space, or here is our variable that we want to mark. So let's give design to the board. So at the first line, as you can see, there is, we are not concerned in the first line. We are not concerned about the variable. It is just a design portion. So our design portion will look like there are 3 spaces, then a vertical dash, then again 3 spaces, and then again a vertical dash. So here is our board, the first line of the board, but we are concerned more with the second line of the board. So our second line of the board will be, here is our board, here is a space, and then with the space comes the variable which we have made with it, and the variable will be a board. And since it is the first, we are designing the board, and our board pattern will be 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are designing this portion. Here is that portion, that this line which we are printing in the board. So here comes the first variable, that is a list, and what is inside the list will be our variable. And after this comes our separated vertical dash. It will also have some spaces in between. Then again there will come a variable that we are designing with it, and this will be our second variable that we are using. Then after the variable, again comes the same vertical dash. So I am again showing you, this is the first space that we have made, that is the board 1 variable. Now here comes the second variable that we are making. This is the board 2 variable, And here is the third variable that we are making, that is the board 3 variable, and we will repeat this phenomena for all the 3 parts. So here comes the board 2, that will be our variable, and with this variable we will again having a spaces. So let's make a space, and after these spaces we will be having our third variable, which we will be using in our board. So here is the third variable, and after third variable there will be some spaces that we wanted. So let's add the spaces. So here are a space, then comes the board variable, then again a space, a vertical slash, then comes the variable, then again variable, space slash variable. So we have generated a kind of pattern for this line, and this line will be our variable line or important line which will be get updated, because this line will remain same in all of the game, but this line will change always whenever we use the enter or input anything here. So again now we need to complete our designing. So after this line there are no variable line, this is just a designing line which we have left spaces so that it looks good. So we can enter it on our choices, like 3 spaces, then again 3 spaces, vertical slash, then 3 spaces. So this is our first block of element which we have completed, which has 3 variables in it. So here is the 3 variables here, and now our task is to complete these three columns, like this was first, second and third column which we have built, and now we want this first, second and third row. So here we have built our first row designing, now here goes the second row designing that we wanted to go, and then the third row designing that we want to complete. Our rows are separated via horizontal dashes, so we will give horizontal dash here, and now we can give as much amount of horizontal dash as we wanted, because we will separate them or take them when the needs come. So again let's have a look at how many comes. It's 3 3 3. Okay, so we can change them afterwards. We can now just give the horizontal dashes that we wanted, and this is our first row, that is the row 1. Or I can say that I may write here, give a comment so that it will look more easy to understand. This is row 1. Now here is the separated thing, and from here starts the row 2. So for row 2 we again go with the same designing. There will be a single designing line which will have 3 spaces, then again 3 spaces, and then again 3 spaces. Then here is the same line that we want to build, and this is the line, the 3 variables that we are using. So our third line will be made of 3 variables that will be again. So here is our first spaces, then here comes the variable, and our variable will be board 2, and sorry, 2 has already completed, so it will be 4, and then comes the space line which with a separated vertical dash, and then come our fifth variable, because we are having 9 variables and we need to arrange them in such a manner that they may looks good, and a user can understand while playing that what is happening here. So spaces are all needed here because our designing should be very well, so that we may not get confused at what is happening and where we need to make a mark. So here is our third line completed. Now, before starting any function, I would like to tell you that you should start making a function name, because function names are always required when you do anything. If you have function name, then you can easily build your code, because it is very difficult to relate that what is happening behind the functions or how the functions are related. So it's good that we give function name first at the starting, then we build the function according to our need, because building functions is bit complicated also. And but if you once build these complicated functions, your code will be easy to run. The reason behind this is that why building functions is because we not need to bring the functions into the complicated code. So our main loop will just calling the functions, and we will be using what the function does, and when the need comes, we don't need to worry about that what is happening with the functions. So I have completed the code and our board will get designed. After designing the board, I can run this and show to you that how does the board will look, but variable names and also are needed with it. So Here our seventh variable is there, only two more left to write, and then our board designing will be done. Then we can discuss that how to write the code here, what type of algorithms will be needed, how the user will give input, and everything comes. But first we should have a board so that we know what work we are doing on the board. It is almost completed. So I can copy it here, and we will copy it and we will write here, and here is our board completed. And now last lines are left, and this will be the second line. Only we are copying this. Now we don't need a separated dash, because as you can see here, we have two separated dash to separate three lines, so we don't need a more dashes to separate it. If you want, you can bring a changes here or make a look on more attractive here, but I think it is sufficient because these variables are easily understandable. So here is our board, and here is our board which will be printed, and here is our board variables which will be work behind the board. And the main work, as I've told you earlier, is about saving the data or saving the input given by the user. So now let's discuss. So welcome back everyone. Last time we have discussed that how can we design the board, and we have also written the code for designing the board. We have also written some functions, and we have also declared our variable board. So what comes after the designing? You can consider designing as only the building or base of the building. Now we need to construct the building or the building base, constructing the building on the base. So you can consider here that we have designed our board. The board designing one has done. What comes next is to we have to declare the outcome. Means the computer should know that when to end the game, if the game has completed or not completed. And before computer should come to know that whether the game is completed or not completed, it should know that whether there is any variable to mark or not, because if there are only empty strings, what computer will come to know? So here computer will get to know about the variables, that whether there is a written something or not written something. Then after this, computer should know how to play, and we will discuss about it later. So our first thing is whether free space is there or not there, because if computer don't know whether there is free space or not, how it will give us the outcome that game is completed or not completed. So let's discuss here. The easiest way to do a code is to write a function with a proper name, that what you expect from the function. Like we want to check whether there is any empty space or not. So we will declare our function that is space free. So this is the name of the function. And how we will check? See, space is free when we need to mark the position. It is for the user, that user wanted to mark the position, and also for the computer, that computer should know where to mark the position. So for space is free, our only parameter will be the position, because if computer don't know where to mark, what will happen? Let's tell you with an example. So here all the spaces are empty. Computer don't know whether there is any space or not there. Means currently in for our code, I first marked at fifth position. Take a random position, fifth. So I marked their fifth position. Computer has not marked here on the fifth position, or you can say computer or the code has marked here on the first position. So if you consider it to be a random move by the computer, let's try to mark at the fifth position. See, it has refused to mark on the fifth position because that space is occupied. So if we try to mark on the first position on which computer has marked, here on the first position on which computer has marked, because it has marked 0 here. So if we try again, it will say that the space is occupied. How computer comes to know that the space is occupied? So this function will help us to give that the space is occupied or not for a given position, because if we are not giving the position, then they don't need to check. Means that does not make any sense that it is checking whether the space is free or not. It only checks when we are giving their position. It does not matter that whether the space is empty or it is occupied, it is marked. So it just required a small function that we need to return board position is empty. So this is the space, the space which we are checking here. Board position is equals to space. It will check in the Python that whether there is any empty space or not, space is free or not. And why we are checking with the empty space? Because when we have declared our board, which was a list here, when we have declared this, we have checked here for the empty space only. So we are only checking here for the empty space, that whether there is any space or not, because this is the first empty variable that we have considered. You can also make it a and declare here that if there is a that is empty here, but what will happen if we declare a variable not if we declare other than the free space, it will also visible here. So our games need a free space, that's why we have made our free space as our variable. So this function is written either true or false. It is a Boolean function because we are using a equivalent operator which is checking whether the function is true or not. Now this is about space is free or not. We also need to check whether board is full or not, because if computer comes to know that the board is not full and it still goes on marking and marking, the computer, it will not be able to give the outcome. So here we just don't need a single position, we need full board. We are checking on all the board whether the function is empty or not empty, or our board is empty or not empty. So here our code goes for board dot count, and on what we are checking for the space, that whether this space is not there or not there, and we will make greater than 1. So if more than one space is there, you can return false, that still the board has left with the some spaces, so it is not full. And if there is not any space left, so we will return empty, or we can return true, that the board is full and there is no space to mark. So here I think equal to also comes, because if there is one space also, then we cannot say that the board is empty or not empty. So here the code goes for the single space. Now this is all the basic codes which we are writing here, because these are the starting building blocks to write. We are concerned about to declare the winner. As I have told you earlier, we want the outcome from the game. We want that the game should give us the outcome. So the outcome can only comes when the game came to know that someone has won. So how we will declare that? So first we will write a function for this, that is winner, and our parameter will be two things. The first parameter, because board, as you all know, it is usual, we are building it on the board, and the second parameter will be letter, or you can make it up mark, or you can consider it any variable. So we are writing here for this. And now what we are writing, we will be for some nested code. And why nested, I will tell you when I will rate it, you will consider it. So board 1, this is our first variable, is equals to letter. So here the first variable is equals to letter, and board second, this is also is equals to letter. I will explain you later what is happening here. And first I will write few, even try to understand that what is happening here if you can, so that you will also come to know that how we are checking or writing a code whether if someone is winner or not. So here letter. Now we will be using an OR operator, and again we will write for the row 2. This is the second column, we are writing for the second column. Now board 4, this is our, see, board is our list and it contains some empty strings, and these empty strings are only our variable which we are using. So if you we will not use variables, then how can we mark the position? So list is a very good, because it will offer us to access the variables very easily, and also to append them when we need to change it. But I don't think change will come, it will only be changed for the first time. After that, no change is required. So here we have written for the second line, and now we will write for the third row. We are writing for the third row, board, and I will write for the this 4 5 6. So here goes 7 is equals to letter, and board here board variable 8 is equals to letter, and board variable 9 is equals to letter. Now let's, if you have tried to think over it what's going here, then you may have understand here that what we are doing, we are checking for the first row. For example, what we are doing, we are checking here for the first row. For example, in the first consecutive row, if there comes the 0, again 0, and again 0, the computer will come to know that computer should give us that there is a winner, and it should return us true, because and or also returns true or false. They are also Boolean functions. So it will return us for the first row, but we need to write all the combinations in which a winner is possible. Because if you look at the game, for example, I will write it 6, and see, this is the first row. So here we have only checked for the first combination, that is variable 1, variable 2, variable 3. If variable 1, variable 2 or variable 3 equals to any letter, be it 0 or cross, we are not concerned that we win or the computer win. We are only concerned that who wins the game or who is winning the game. And for the second row, we have also written that is variable 4, variable 5, variable 6. If they are equal to a same letter, then there must be any winner. And for the third row, we are writing for the variable 7, variable 8 and variable 9. Again, we are checking that whether there is any winner or not. We have written for the 3 rows, the first row, the second row, the third row, but there are more combinations possible. This is the first column, this is the second column, and this is the third column. So I am going to copy paste here. We are going to copy paste it, and I will also explain you that why we are using and or operations and how they are working. First, I will explain you about their working, and then I will explain you that why we are using and or operations instead of any one. So we have written for the 1, 2 and 3. Now we will write for 1, 4 and 7. So let's see here. This was we have written for the row 1, 2, 3. Now we need to write 1, 4 and 7, 2, 5 and 8, and here 3, 6 and 9. Okay, so let's write 1, and this will be for 4, and this will be for 7. Now 1, 4, 7 we have already written. This will be for 2. The 5 will remain as it is, and this will be for 8. Now here we have written the second column. Now we need to write the third column, that is 3. This is the first variable, this is the sixth variable, and this is 9 will remain as it is. So we have written for 3 rows. Now we have written for 3 columns, and now one more combination is left, and that is we need to write for the full combinations. Means you can say we need to write also for the diagonals. So our diagonal here, if you can say, the diagonal comes that these 1, 5 and 9 and 3, 5 and 7, these two can also make someone a winner if they are equal. So we will first write for 1, 5 and 9, and then we will write for 3, 5 and 7. So here goes for 1 is equals to letter. Here E is not there. So we have written for the columns. Now we are writing for the diagonals, and here the third one, that is 5 is equals to letter. Now you must have identified that why we are writing these codes and what is going behind them. And now 1, 5 and 9 is equals to letter. Now only one thing left about OR and AND combinations. So this is the last diagonal, and then we will discuss about that why we are using and OR combinations. So here is board is equals to 3 is equals to letter, then AND board, since it's diagonal, so center part remains same, that is board 5 variable remains same, and we are checking for the letter. We are not concerned whether it should be a 0 or it should be a cross. We are only concerned that we are checking for checking for whether these three are same or not, and then later on we will identify that who is the winner. So here I have written for the board and the winners combination. Now we will discuss what is AND and OR. So how does AND and OR work? So this was 0 0 0. So why we are using inside brackets, you can see there are AND operators. So why we are using AND operator, the reason behind this, if these two things are true, so if this is true and if this part is true and this part is also true, means this AND is also true, so again it will give us a true, and these two will both gives us the true. So if this 3 is equal, AND will only return true. Why? Because if you know the logic table of the AND, so it is 0 0 0 and it is 0 1 0 1 0 0 and 1 1 1. So here you can see that this is the logic table of AND. AND returns true only if both the values are true. So here we want that all the three should be true, so we have used two ANDs. And if we would have used here OR operator, like if instead of AND OR would be there, so it would have returned us, in this case also it would have written us true. Why? Because OR can choose anyone, like if you like logic table for OR operator. So here it's 0 and here it's 1, again 1 and again. So OR returns, so you can see OR returns in the cases for every, if it receives a single one also it will return OR. And this is the reason that inside we want all the three consecutive letters or the criteria which we have declared for winner should be true, means there should be 3 zeros or 3 crosses. But we don't want that every column or every diagonal should have 3 zeros or 3. We just want any single. If it's row, then also it's okay, it should return true and it should end the game. And if it's a column or diagonals, then also it should return a game and end the game. So we are using OR here, because if we would have used AND here, then every row and every column should have either single value 0 or single value 1 cross, then only it should have returned us true. But now we only want one row, one diagonal or one column to have all the three letters same, because having more than one combination would not make us any sense for the game. So in this manner we have used AND and OR. This is the reason. Now one more thing would have come to your mind, that why we have not used if. So let's try and use if here. So if, let's build the condition for the board 1 is equals to letter again if board, you can write here 2 also, you can write here 3 also, because we need to check for everything. And if board is equals to 3 is equals to letter. So here then our process comes. Now the problem is not that it will return true, it would have returned true and ended all the processes which would be there, but this is we have written only for the line 4, row 1, and we need, how many rows are there or how many combinations are there? This is one combination, and from 32 to 40 you can understand that there are 8 combinations possible. So for 8 combinations, if you will write 4 lines, this is not a quality of a good programmer, because we need to use minimum number of lines possible. So there comes one combination, then again we would be using elif loop, and again the same code runs, the 4 lines will come here, then again it will return 2, and here you can see we have worked in 8 lines. Means we need, if we are using here, we would be needed around 32 lines. From 40 to 43 you would be it will goes to 74. Only these much lines would be there for writing just a winner combination, and we have written here, completed here 8 lines. So remember always that a good programmer always writes the excellent code, complete code in a minimum number of lines, and this is the reason why we have not used the if. We have discussed many things like we have discussed, we have declared the outcome also, we have checked for free spaces also, we have declared some part for logic about and or also. Now how should computer play? We need to teach our computer to play with us as a game. And the second thing which comes here, that the we need to mark the variable. Still this is just a board design, we cannot mark the variable. We need to if you will run it, it will just give you an empty string. If I call the functions here, it will just give me an empty string or empty design which so welcome back everyone. We have discussed in the last lecture that how we can decide that who will be winner and who will not. So we have declared the outcome of the game. Also we have designed the board, our board, that was just a list and empty spaces. Now we have also discussed about the function of the free space, some more concepts related to that. Now our main concern today in this lecture is about how we can mark the variable, because when we will mark the variable, then computer will play with us. So before making the computer moves, let's make our marks, that how we can mark the variables, or how we can mark the x in that. So we are having some issues while marking the position. That first thing, to solve those issues, we need to take two inputs from the user, like we need to take x and we need to take 7. If again and again 7 is there, if a player takes a x move or a cross move, then he need to enter cross again and again while playing. So instead of that, we have only fixed that player will have the cross move. So now no need for the mark, we only need position. So we don't need the mark, but what we need is only position from the user. So second thing, while taking the position, we need to take care that user should not enter invalid position. Now what here invalid position means, user should not enter something like A, B, C, D instead of 8. We want this position number. But if what happens if user entered this, or not even this large enter, but if he entered only the A variable, which is not our required input, what will happen if user will enter this? So our list, which is a board, and it will take A as a key value, and now when it will try to find out A, it will say that A is not a valid key value for the list type objects. Means list are undefined for the string values, they only list are only defined for the number values or numerical values. So our program will crash there, means there will be no output, it will throw an error and the program will end. So you need to restart the game again and again if we have not corrected this input, because many a times user can by mistake enter a wrong input even if he wanted to enter some number. Now the second thing comes, the third thing comes, what happens if user entered marked position? As I have told you earlier, user should not be able to enter the marked position. For example, if user have entered a marked position, like 1 has already been entered or marked, and again user marked that position, again 1. So what will happen, that our game will not able to get finished, because maybe there is a 0. For example, if I tell you if list and 1 is equals to 0, now user marked again for list 1. Now what will happen if there was position 1 was already marked and user again have given the position number 1. So if position 1 was marked by the computer, like say it has already marked the 0, and then user again marked the position 1, so this will result in an error because list will update itself as cross. So this will be an invalid move, and this does not make a sense in the tic-tac game, because lists are appendable, or you can say they are callable. They can easily update themselves or change their values. Even if there was x also and user has again given the value for the cross, so this will result again a misconception, because game will not end there. User will keep entering the move, keep entering the move. So we need to take care that once it is marked, they are not marked again. And the fourth, this is not a very big issue, that as you all know, you have used Python, you may be familiar with it, that Python always take input as a string, and we need to convert that str into int. So this is not a very big issue. We can easily convert this, but these three are our some specific issues that we need to take care. We've also solved this position by not marking, not giving the user to give marks, because we have already fixed the cross value for the user. Now only two issues are left, second and third, and we can solve it directly while taking the input. So these are the major concerned area. So let's build the program and understand what is happening. I always tell you that first mark the position, name the function for what is it is being made. For example, here it is player move. So we will name the function as player move. Now we will not give any parameter, but we will just write the code for our function. So we will make a variable and make it true. So while run is true, our game will keep running or keep going. It will be difficult for you to understand now because the code is not complete and it's bit complicated. But as I will finish the code and also explain you about it, then I know you can easily grasp it. So run will be equals to true. It means while run. So in this condition, our game will not stop and it will keep running. And now we will take input from the user. So move is equals to input, and you can write here or explain the user that what input they want. Please enter position 1 to 9. So here user will enter a position from 1 to 9, and here from here our code goes. We will be using a try and except case. Some of you would be familiar with it and some of you will not be, but in a game try and except are being used always. If you are not familiar, I will explain you about it, that why try and except is used, why we have not used if else here, and what are the benefits of try and except. So try and except case is always used in a games because many a times wrong input comes and the probability of getting a wrong input is always there. Just you need to press a wrong key and it's all done. So here with the try and except we can handle the exceptions handling. This is also called exception handling, and we are handling an exception. What happen if our input is not what we have required? So we will not crash the game and rerun the game, we will just solve it there only. So here goes try, and with try we will be first converting move to int move. As I have told you earlier, our task was to convert str to int, and this is just a single line of code. It will convert str to int if the number is 1 to 9. So I will tell you why if the number is only 1 to 9 we are converting int, and why we are not converting it here. Means I have written here also int input, but why have I have not done this, I will tell you later on. So now we have given our move, and now we will be writing a code that if first we will checking before writing the code, we will be checking for this user entered marked position, means user is not entering a marked position. So as you know, in the earlier lecture we have built in function is space free. If space is free, then only we will allow user to mark the position. If it is not, we will not allow. So in this case, by building this function, we will again calling this function again and again and solve our issue. So we will directly using it is space free, and it will be called for the move. So if it is space free move, if this is true, then only our if statement will run, and after running this we will be writing our next if code. So here we will be checking that number is valid. So if move is greater than 0 and move is smaller than 10, then if loop will run. So here we have checked that whether the space was empty or not. Now we are checking whether the move is between 1 to 9. That was our range. This was the task also of the second, that the user does not enter an invalid position. So what is the valid position? Valid positions are 1 to 9. So these are the two valid positions. Now again, after taking a valid position, we will make run to false. And why we are making run to false? We are making run to false so that computer can take its move. Computer may move or can take a valid move, or it can mark the position, because if run is false, then only computer will come to know that it's his turn. So here we are declaring that the computer will able to mark the position. So this is our if statement. Now we will also, it will be a type of nested if cases. So we will be writing the else for it. What happen if number is not from 0 to 10? It is not guaranteed it will always be between 1 to 9. If it may be 0, it may be 10, it may be 200. So if number is not here between the 0 to 9, then we will print we should write in the next line. Then we will print that enter valid position, and that is 1 to 9. So if position is not valid, we can check it. Now what happened if space is not free, but then also user is entering, because we have not stopped the user from entering anything. So else will also come. This else will be for this if statement, and if user again entered, so we need to tell the user that the space is occupied, or you can say space is marked. So that variable is already marked, so we will tell that space is marked, so the user should not now marked for the different thing. Now we will be writing for the except statement. So here comes the except position, and here you can see that there was a try, and in exception handling, with the try there always comes the except. So here comes the except, and except will take that please enter a number. Now why does the except told please enter a number? Means why we are writing that please enter a number, or why except will run when there will not be any number as the input. So the reason behind this, that there will not be any number, is as I've told you earlier, that is the reason that why we are using an exceptional handling. And now if you would have understand this, that why try will not run if user will enter ABCD. So I will tell you from starting. If user entered a valid move 1 to 9, so it will convert int move. So it will try first. It will try to convert int move, because number is 1 to 9, it will convert. Next it will check whether it is a free space. Again it will check it is from 1 to 9, and if these two conditions are true, then it will make the position false and mark the position. Let's show you on the program. So first we will play the game. Now it has asked me to enter valid move. If I enter 1, it will mark. If I enter again 3, it will again mark the position. If I entered 20, it has written me an error that please type a number between 1 to 9, because 20 was not a valid number. If I try to mark the 7th position, here is the 7th position. So I will mark 7, because 7 is already occupied by 0. So again it has told me this space is occupied. So how does it come to know? First it will try. What it will try? To convert move into int move. If your number is something like A, B, C, D, so this position will not run, means this statement will not run or throw an error. And this is the beauty of the try statement, that it will not allow the program to get rest. Instead it will return to the except. This is the exception handling, and it will ask you to please enter a number, because ABCD cannot be converted into int. So here function cannot convert into int. It can only be converted numbers. Now if this will not run, move int will not be there, then except will run, and in this way exceptional handling will happen. And what happen if we try to, if instead of try except we have used if else. So if we will just copy it, and I can show you. If our code will be, instead of exceptional handling, if our code would be if and some statement here and then else. If we would have done here, then we would have tried to convert the move int move. So when the computer will go in converting int ABCD, it will get rest. Why? Because because this int function, which is an inbuilt function of the Python, can only convert numerical function. It can only take base value. You can say base 10, or it can only take decimal values, int. So it would not be able to convert ABCD because this is not a decimal value. So if would be there, then the program would have got crashed and thrown an error that int cannot convert int can only convert a decimal value, not an alphabetical value, or you can say an alphanumerical value. That's why we have not used if, because our program would have got caused, and we have used the exceptional handling here, because in exceptional handling, our program, if something is not if Python program or language is not able to handle something, or there may be error in handling, so it will give you an except, but it will not trace. Why? Because it will go from try to accept to take the care of the error. So here we have written the player move, and now our one more task is left, and our task was, we have converted, marked the position, we have entered the valid position, we have entered the marked position, we have used all this. Now after this, what is left here, that we have taken the player move, and we have taken the player move. Now computer moves are left. So from here the direct AI will come, because we need to teach computer that how to take the move, how to play, and not only just mark the move. It will not be a random move that it will take a variable and mark on any position. It will try to stop us from making the 3 consecutive moves or 3 consecutive marks. It will stop us from winning the game. So we also need to tell the computer that to stop us from winning the game means to play with full energy and with full enthusiasm, so that we may get an interesting game, not an easy game, that it should not be a random case that sometimes we won and sometimes we not. So thank you, and I think from here it would be a little difficult to understand, but read the statements 2 to 3 times and you will feel familiar with the statements. And also I would be thinking that you are finding it interesting building the game, because in only few lectures we will build our complete game. Thank you, all of you. So welcome back, guys. In this part, this is the most interesting part of the game. Why? Because today we are going to discuss about that how computer can play. And this is also the AI part which I was talking about earlier. Most AI is not there, means it does not contain a AI in depth. But you can think that here the AI portion is of the game comes, because we are teaching the computer to play, and that is not the intelligence of the computer, but that is artificially we are giving the computer that intelligence to play with us, and that's why you can call it an artificial intelligence for the computer. So without wasting the time, let's start that how our computer can play with us. Now the first thing that was that computer should know how to play, and if you concentrate about it, it is divided into many parts. Like first part, that it should resist us from winning. So I am concentrating on it more because winning. So it should resist us from winning, and I am concentrating on it more because this is the main thing that we want the computer to do, means not allowing us to win and letting itself to win the game. Now second things are possible moves, means from the first move we cannot decide that computer will resist us from winning, so it will also play like a player, means it will try to win, so resisting us and possible moves, making possible moves. And third thing comes to win. So we need to give computer these 3 qualities to how to play the game with us. Now let's start the function, making function or writing the code for it. We will define a function for it, and we will name our function computer move. So here is our function computer move. After this, we will be declaring moves for the computer. First of all, we want the moves, that how many moves are there to computer to make. So what does we want? We want First, computer moves. Every time if you see in the board, for example, when I play, here the moves for the computers are different. For example, if I press 3, so now computer has only these parts. Except 3, it has only these parts to take his move. So it has taken ninth position to mark its game. Now I will mark my at 7. So again computer has taken, first it has stopped us from taking the move as I have marked with 7 and prepared a path for itself to take the move. So here you can see that the scenario for the computer again changed because it has now only 6 moves left or 6 positions left to mark, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 8. So these 6 positions are where computer can mark his positions. So we need to give computer possible moves. So we will name our variable possible moves, and we will write a single line of code for it. X for x comma letter in enumerate board. Board is our variable, list variable, you know. And after this we will write if letter is equals to 2 spaces which we have declared, and here is equals to we are giving end condition. So we want a boolean answer from the if statement, our if conditions, and x is not equals to 0. So why x is not equals to 0, I will explain you. First, what is enumerate? If you are using Python, you may know that what does this function do, but again I will tell you this enumerate function. About the enumerate function, consider the list L1. So here is our list L1 which has 3 variables. Now if I use the function enumerate L1, it will print the sequence also with the number. For example, 0 for eat, 1 for sleep, and second for repeat. If I have not used the enumerate function and directly use the L1, so it has only printed me the content of the list L1. But here it is giving the numbering or indexing for this. So it is making our task easier. It is giving us the indexes. Second thing, I am just taking care of the indexes, because if you see, let's take another example for the enumerate. Here we have taken 2 variables, count and LE, and we want these two as a different separate one, not as a tuple. Means here it was in the form of a tuple, we want a separate answer. So here we have 2 variables. The indexing is at different position, and we have decided that our position will start from the 100, not from 0. So we have done here 101 and 102. And here also we have make them just fully different from each other. For example, 0 first and eat after this. So enumerate does a task for us for indexing the variables which we are having. Why do we want enumerate? We are having a board. We want the possible moves. And our possible moves is only the move where we have a vacant space. Means there should not be any cross or there should not be any 0. Also we don't want that our x should start from 0. Why we don't want that our x should start from the 0? Because we have numbered our positions from 1 to 9. We can also mark here as 1 so that our task would be easier, but let's give an end condition that is more systematic. So here is our variable which we are taking care, and here this is the for loop, and we only want the indexes. We are not care what letter is there. Why? Because we are only having vacant space, or we don't have any 0 or process. So why to take the very letter also with us? So we just want the list of possible moves where positions are possible. So in this way we will get the possible positions here. For example, in this case, if what will be the possible moves would be given to the computer. So the possible moves here would be for the computer, like first, because this is empty, second is also empty, third is not empty, so it would have not given third, but it would have given fourth. So fourth, here fourth would have come, again coming. It has also given fifth, sixth, and eighth. So these were the possible positions for the computer for making in this section for this board or on this span of time here at this board, and it has marked here on fifth position, which is in the possible moves, included in the possible moves. So we want that where we can mark the position. After this we will decide that how we will mark. Now we will decide how we will mark the position, because we have got the possible moves. We will not mark everywhere, we will only mark where there is a vacant space possible to mark for us. Now we will write an algorithm to check where we can win and where we can lose. So for let in 0 and take it big 0 comma cross. So this is 0 comma x, and we are writing a inner loop. It's a kind of nested loop, you can consider a two thing. So possible moves. So this was our variable which we have chosen. Now we will again copy the board, and we will fully copy the board. So here you can see we are having this kind of a statement. If you are using list, and you would have used, if I have used here 1 comma 3 or something like this, change in board copy would also made a change in this one. But now since we are having only this semicolon in between, so the board will get copied, but no change in board copy will result in change in board. So now they are different thing. But if I have copied here from 1 to 3 or till here till 5, so it would have result in this also, means change in board copy would have result in board if something would have written here. But now we have just given a semicolon, means we are only copying this board to this board. So change in this board will not give a change to us to this one. After this we are considering board copy I is equals to let. Now we are giving their value, means for every board copy we are giving the value. And after this we will check for if is winner. If you would recall, we had a function is winner, and it has a parameter was board copy, and we have also given one more parameter, and that parameter was the sign, or you can say the mark. It was 0 or cross, and here our mark is only let. So we have given the parameters to our function, and now move I. So now we have given the move I is equals to I, and you can consider, actually I will not come here, L will come here, because our function was L. So move I, and after this what has actually happened here I will tell you. Move I will also not be there, it would be move L. So if is winner, and we will return it. So return move. Now what has happened here, you can, if you are able to see the loop, first we are checking for each and every variable. The first variable is 0 and the second variable is cross. Then we go to the inner loop. We will take every possible move. We have to go for every possible move, and we will copy the board. Then we will put that variable inside the board, means we will mark it 0 or cross, and then we will check for every possible moves. For example, if possible moves would be, consider these are our possible moves. So these possible moves comes here. Now again we will copy the board, and we will check for every single move that can make us win. For example, we will check for 1, then we will check for 2, then we will check for 4. If this function doesn't work, so we will go for next one, and if this function works, so we will return that move, because we have a chance to win the move. Also you can see that we are checking for 0 and x both. why we are not checking only about the computer? The reason behind this, whether we check for 0 if computer can win, or whether we check for cross if player can win, computer will only take the move 0, or you can say it's 0. So computer will always move 0. If computer is winning, it will then also move 0 and win the game. If you are giving, it will not mark X, it will mark 0 there and stop you from winning the game. So taking both the variables does our work, resisting us from winning and also allowing the computer to win the game. So that is the reason we are taking both the mark and we are checking for both the thing, either player can win or either computer can win. Now this is the condition when someone can win, but in the starting of the game, like we were here, when we have marked this cross in the position, that time computer is marked here. So you can see the computer cannot check in this condition that who will win. Why? Because there was only a single cross and it will not able to identify that who is winning the game. So it is not compulsory that this loop will alone work and give us the possible move, because we need to check for the different conditions whether the move is possible or not possible. So if move is possible, our function will return as the move, and let's make it in bracket. Our function will return as the move, but if it is not possible, it is the starting of the game, so we need to again write something the code. So let's start. We will write for the corners, means in the function, if we are not able to identify where to take a move, we will move on the corner. See, so the 0 comes at the corner first. Why? Because in the programming we are giving first in the corner, we are writing for the corner move, so it is giving us in the corner. So we will go for the corner, then we will go for the middle, and then we will go for the left adjacent edges, that is outside there. So we will name a variable corner open, and it will currently be a empty list. After this, we will write for I in possible moves, because every time we need to take only possible moves, because possible moves update themselves on every function, and in every function the possible moves reduces themselves. So we cannot fix the possible moves for a computer in just a game, and they are always a random moves. Now if I, or yes, if I in 1, 3, 7, 9. So how I have guessed this? Actually, I have not guessed this list. Our corners were 1, 3, 7 and 9. So here you can see we have already given the corner instead of writing any code for it, and we will just select a random move for the corners. So we will write corners, corner open dot append this I. So we will append all the moves that are possible in the corners. After appending the moves, we will check whether there is any move or there is any possible moves at the corner. So we will just check the length. If there is any possible move, the length of the corner open function list would be greater than 0. But if not, then our if loop will not run. But if possible there is a move you can choose from, then we will randomly select a move. It may be 1, it may be 7, it may be 9, because as I have told you earlier, in the starting of the game, predicting that who will win is difficult. So we will use a inbuilt function select random, and currently I have not defined the random memory library. So when I will define the random library, it will start working or taking the move. Random function will work. So currently I am just defining the function and select random open and then return the move. So we are just going on every position, whether we can win, whether we can move in corner, whether we can move in the middle, like we have done in the here. We have taken all the scenarios. Similarly, here also we are taking all the scenarios possible, so that we can win the game or play the game. we need to make our computer up to date so that it may not have any loopholes while playing. Now we will go for middle. For middle it comes a single number, if 5 in possible moves, so we don't need to do much work, and then we can directly move is equals to 5 and return our move. Now this is for the center move. Again we are going for the edges move. Edges are this one, yeah, 2, this is 4, this is 6, and this is 8. So these are our edges, and we don't update it at the starting because on every single chance this loops or this function will be called on every move, because computer needs to take every move. So whenever a player takes a move, computer takes a move, and whenever computer takes a move, this function is called, and whenever this function is called, our possible moves get updated. So we need to keep these list empty, like corner open, edges open, because every time they update themselves, so this should be empty, so that we can append the possible moves in them whenever it is required. I in 2, 4, 6, 8. Edges open dot append and I. So we have appended the move, and again we will check if len edges open is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, we will again call our random function, which we have not defined now, but in the library we will define it later, and when we will run, it will be working. So this is a random function, means we can choose any digit, because now we have only all the choices that we want. It is not compulsory that the player will win. It may win or it may lose, because now we are just taking the move. So the scenario is not clear still. So just we need to make the move, and in this way our computer will make a move. Now from the beginning, let's see what has actually happened. We have taken a possible moves. On every single move, or every time a player make a move, this possible moves changes. So we want the possible moves which are empty, and we also want a condition that x should not be 0, because we are taking from 1 to 10, 1 to 9. Our number should be from 1 to 9. So this is a possible moves. It may be 2, it may be 3, these may be 4. Number of possible positions, they may be 4 also. Then we have taken 2 marks. The first is 0 and the second one is cross. First we will go for the 0, then we will put this L on every position, means all the possible moves we will check for L. So if there are 5 possible moves, we will check for every possible move. If there is not a winner, there is not a winning move, then if there is a winning move, we will take that move and we will not check any further. The loop will break and return function will come to its own position, and we will take the winning move. If there is not winning move, we will check for cross. We will take every possible moves and we will check for the cross, where cross can win. If cross can win somewhere, we will take that move, but we will mark it not as cross, we will mark it as 0, so that cross may not win there. In this way, we will stop our opposite player to win. So this is about a winning condition, but for a winning condition, there must be a 2 consecutive marks previously, like double 0, double cross. Then only we can predict that they are winning or not winning. But if we have started the game, there may be a single mark, or there may be only not any mark. So we need to go further. We need to decide where to make a move. So first we will make a move at corner open. Then we will make a move at 5, and then we will make a move at adjacent moves, means between the corners, or you can say the edges. So we will go for the corner. We will declare a list. We will check for the possible moves that are there. If those possible moves come under this condition, we will take our move. We will append there. Not take that, we will append. We will consider all the moves. Then we will select any random move and go with that move. Similar we will do for the center if there are no edges possible, corners possible, and even if there are no center possible, we will go with the edges. So this is a example that how does the AI works, and I think it would look interesting to you because we are training the computer how to take moves and all on the basis of a algorithm. And just to play a tic-tac game, we are training so much to the computer. We are giving the algorithm, writing the algorithm, taking care of every scenario possible. So you can consider that how large could be AI when we are writing for a bigger project like a auto driving car, like auto updating, or any other project that consider a lot of instructions to the computer. So that's why AI is some bit complicated, but if you have built it, then you are free, you can use it any number of times. So in the next lecture we will writing the main loop for the computer, and then our code will be completed, and then we will enjoy our tic-tac game. Thank you. So hello everyone. In the last section we were discussing about writing the or designing the function, and our function we were designing about the computer move, and we have completed that function. Now the one part was left in that function was the select random. We have not decided that function yet, and why we are taking the select random we will also discuss about that in this section. So first let's complete the function. So for select random we need to import a library, and that is import random. So this is the library that we are importing, and but first the needs come that why we are taking select random. So if we will not use the select random and we have selected like move is equals to corner open, let's say we have selected the first move. If we have written like this, then also our code would have worked because it has selected the first move. For example, our possible moves would be 1, 3 and 7. So every time it would have selected the first move present. Now as you can say, if the first move would be there like every time you are selecting the first move, so it would have looked like it is playing with it doesn't look like you are playing with someone having a intelligence or artificial intelligence. We are using random. So random, what does it do? It every time it selects a different move, so every time you play the game you find that this game is going some interesting because there is a different move for it. For example, it would be like a copy paste. If I have played one, computer will play 3. If I have again played one, computer will again play 3. But I have again played one, computer will play 3. So it will be a combinations. But now if I have played one, computer may play go with 7. Again in the next game I play 7, computer 1, computer may go with 3. And again I have played 1. So you can see computer is taking random moves here. So if we would have done 0, so computer would have played every time as a same player. Like it would be a previous game, and you can write the game movements of the computer because every time it will select the same moves only. So this is the reason why we are taking the select random. And now we will define our function select random. Define select random, and our input would be the a list because every time we gives a list to the function like edges open or corner open. So our parameter is the list, and after this we will write define len list, and with list we will define r is equals to random. This is the function that we are calling dot range, and we will give the output 0 comma ln. So this was the our this ln is our list. Actually what this range do, it selects a position or it prepares a list for the function from 0 to ln. Means if ln is 7, so it will prepare from 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, and now any of the number can be selected from 0 to 7, and it will select any number, and randomly it will select any number. Means every time the chances of getting the same number is less, very less. So you will definitely get a different number, and with that different number you can, every time your game will be on a different level, and we will return this. So we have returned our number, and we will return the list ln r. So the list which we have taken here, that was the list which we have taken here was given to us. So here list will come, because we need to give the selected number of the position. For example, we have given a edge is open, we have given a function select random edge is open. So edge is open will come. Now edge is open may have three possible moves. So range will select 0, 1 and 2, because range, as you know, does not select the last one. And from 0, 1, 2, random function will pick up any number, and it will give to r. So r may have sometimes 0, may have on the other hand 2. In the next move or in the next game it may have 1. Now we will return the list r. So when we will do select random range, our randomly we will select a number, and that number will go to the move, and our move will go to the board. So in this way computer can mark the move. So that's why define select random function we needed it, so that our computer may play like a innovative player, every time finding a new ways to play the game. So this was all about the last program that we did, but here we were left with a task, and our new task, or in the algorithm you may discuss that our new task was the main logic, that how we will write the code, means how to combine these codes together, how to make moves, how to allow computer to play, how to allow user to play. For example, if user marked, so computer should check that user has won the game or not, is it a tie or not, and then computer should have its marks, means then computer chance should come. So here chance should come. So computer should have its chance, means you cannot do that you have marked one position and again you are marking the game. So we need to take care that computer should only make his move and again display the board. Then after computer has made the move, again we will check computer has won, the game is tie, means the board is full, and then if both the conditions are not true, we will give again to the user, again computer. So this, after we need to check every time board is full or someone has won, then next chance, then again next chance, and we need to take care that no one gets, even computer should not get a chance that it may mark twice. So let's write a function for this, that how we will be writing the code. Now we will define a main function, define main, and after defining the main function, we will first give a welcome gesture to the player. So welcome, you can edit this as per your designing, means how much you want. I am writing just a temporary welcome, and after this we need to print, and now we will print board, and its parameter is also board. So our board will be printed, so it will give a user a good look that a board is there, and it will give an idea that how the player has to play. Now coming to the condition, that how we will oscillate the chances between the computer and the player. For this we will use a while loop, while not and is board full. We will use this program that until the board is not full, we will not change the, we will keep oscillating between the user and between the player. So here the board is not full, we will oscillate till there, and if someone has won the game, so we don't need to change this condition, we can just directly return, use a return statement and come out of the loop. So after this we will go for the moves. Let's start with the computer. So if we are starting with the computer, so that player will get its first move, because when we will check the condition for the computer, we will oscillate to the user or the player, and when we will check for the player, we will oscillate to the computer. So if not, is winner. So this is winner. Now let's go to the is winner function, and here you can say the winner is the one with the parameter board, and second with the letter. Now at that time we have defined the letter for both. It was for 0 also and it was for cross also. But this time we are very specific that we want to check for the computer. So instead of giving a letter, we will give directly 0, which is the symbol of the computer. And now we will oscillate to player move. So here you can see that if not is winner means if computer is not the winner, then player will take a move. That's why when we start the game, we always have a player move first, because it checks that computer has not won, so player will make a move. Why computer has not won? Because there was not any mark made by the computer. That's why. So we are making it from the first considering that the board is printed empty, and our board was empty because we have made our list empty. We have not marked anything in the list till now. After this, we will print the board. Why we are printing board? We are printing board because player has taken its move. So we want the original copy of the board. Now we can add that thing here also in the player move also to print board. We would have added here like run is equals to false. Here we can make the print move, but it is better to have the print statement here in the main logic because it looks more efficient. So here we get the print board statement, and after this we will get else loop, and here print, here we will print you lost. Now for the first condition, when the board was empty, if condition will work. For the intermediate conditions also, the if condition will work. But a moment will come when the if condition may not work, or you can say when the computer has 3 consecutive mark with it. So it is not every time that only player will never win. A condition may come when computer has won the game and we need to end the game. So we will end here, and we also need a break statement. Otherwise it will just keep going if no break statement is there, and that will not make any sense. So this is for the computer, that we check for the winner. Computer is not winner, we give the player the move to move. After making the player to move, we will print the board. If computer is won, we will then give the outcome statement that you lost, and we will come out of the loop. Now again we will write this time we will check for the player and give computer or oscillate to the computer that now computer may move. So is winner. The difference is only that our symbol will change, for which we were checking, and this is the wonderful use of the function because we don't need to write the functions or codes again and again. Now our move will be computer move, and this was our move. Now here we need to run few more lines. I will explain you why. If move is equals to 0, then we will print tie, or you may print just an empty space because we will try at the end, we will tie the game at the end when this condition will become false. So we will print here just blank space, and then we will go with the else. So else insert letter 0. So here we will insert our 0, and then we will go with the move. So this was the function that this was our first function that we built, insert mark. Here it is the function insert mark letter comma position. So this is working for the computer because computer cannot mark, so we need to mark for the computer, we need to insert for the letter. The computer move only generates the position where to have the mark, but the insert mark actually marks the position at the board. Since it is the board, so we just need to update the board with the move where the move was made. and move has the position with it, and then we will print. So tell the user that computer has done his task. Computer marked, and computer is marked with 0. Now it's end here. We need to tell the position also. So here we will tell the position, and then we will give the user its chance, and then we will print board. uh, Print board is we will update the board, because the previous board was not having the computer, you can say the player moves. Now after this we will come to the else statement for this, if that if player has won the game, then we will congratulate the player, give the outcome, and end the game. So print you won, and then we will break our loop. So now I was telling you that why we were having this if statement here, if move is equals to 0, and then we were checking print. So the reason behind this, that maybe computer may not have any move. For example, the player have, since here player has started the first, so definitely the chances that player will get a move, the board is full, is not possible. So here computer only is the person who will consider the, or a chance will come that there is no space left to mark the position, or it may be a tie. So we will first check a move. If there would no possible move, our move will be 0, and if move is 0, that means a tie, so we will print that letter. If move is not 0, we will go with the else. Now why we are so sure that computer will only get the chance that the board is full? So the reason again is the even odd. The player is the first one to win, to start the game. So the player has the odd position and the computer has the even position. Again player will take the move, again it will get the odd position and computer will get the odd position. So when you will keep going, a chance will come when computer when player marks the ninth position. So ninth is the odd position. So the next position, that is even. So this is the reason that computer will get the position that the board is full and not the player first. So it will be the computer who will get that the position is filled. That's why we have written this code for only the computer. We may write this code also for the player, but player will never get the chance to do that the board is full, because the computer will be the one who will get the thing that the board is full. So we are not adding that statements there. Now coming to the condition that we also need to break our while loop. So if is board full, and we will give the parameter board. After giving the parameter, we will print tie. So we may write that code here also, and we just needed the break condition. But after that, we have a while loop which is running, and also at the end of the game we just need to check whether the condition is full or not, or you can say that whether the program is running or not. For example, it is not compulsory that computer may get the chance. If here it is if statement, then you may go directly to here skipping the computer position. So just to be sure that the games ends, so we regularly check that whether is board full or not, so that at the next loop we may not get stuck in the while loop for infinity times. So here is our main logic which is running and which is telling that how we are running the program, how we are oscillating between the computer and the user. So thank you. We have written most of the functions. Now the only task that is left with us is to write the code or call the functions one by one to each other and complete our function. We are very near to our completing the project, that is tic-tac-toe game. So welcome back guys. We have completed all our functions. Our main loop is also returned. We have completed the functions. We have completed the player move. We have completed the computer move. We have designed our board. We have written the algorithms for the board. Now only one thing is left, and that is to play the game. And before playing, we will just make some interface for the user, that when if they wanted to play the game multiple times, so instead of running the game, they can play here only. For example, tic tac is such a game that anyone could play 2 to 3 times, so again and again they need to run the file. So instead of that, we will give here a interface so that user can run the game directly from in without exiting the file. So do you want to play again? And we will take input from the user in the form of y and n, because no one wants to write a big letter. Now after taking the input, we will change the input to lower, because many a times user can give input in caps also. So we will make here y, we will check for go with that. After this, we will declare a board. We are again declaring the variable. We have also declared board. We have also declared upside at the top of the code also. The reason behind this is that main loop will require, when we will call the main function, it will require a variable board to run or to execute. So for its efficiency, we are just declaring a variable again. Otherwise, our main variable will be at the top of the board. Now we have declared the board. We will just give some we will give some dashes so that we can recognize that every time a new game runs, and just we will call the main. Now after calling the main, if we want to quit the game, we will just go else and break. Instead of writing multiple lines, we can just break. If the user gives y, we will call the function. If the user gives something else other than y, we will just break the game. So we have all done. We have built our game. We have completed the game. So let's do one thing. First, congratulate yourself that you have completed such a big project, and it would be a great achievement for you. And next thing, we need to just play the game. So here is our game, and we will start playing. So here is our game, and we will start playing the game. So I will press Y for to play. I will make a adjustment mark, again 1, and again let's take 5. Sorry, I pressed 6 and the computer 1. So here is your game already all set to play. You can just play easily with the game or with the computer. And